There are three types of people that should be getting into the real estate market. Want to find out if you're one of them? Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome to Minneapolis Living. I'm Nick Sundahl with Acta Homes of Keller Williams Classic Realty Northwest. Before I get into those three types of people that should be buying, selling, or investing in real estate, please hit the subscribe button. When you're there, ring the bell. That way you're alerted every time I upload new content each week. Now, before any of you run to the comments section and say, well, this guy's a realtor, of course he's going to tell you to buy and sell real estate. Well, that's totally true. But I want you to watch to the end because there are a couple of people out there that shouldn't be buying or selling real estate, and I'm going to let you know who those people are. Now, that being said, I do believe that owning real estate, whether that's for an income generating property such as an investment like a rental or a flip, or even if it's just for your own shelter, I believe that foundation of owning property is a great stepping stone to financial security over a long period of time. So let's get into the people that should be buying and selling real estate. Well, let's start with buyers. And the first one is luxury buyers. Now, of course, these types of people are buying here in the Twin Cities market anywhere above, say, $600,000 properties. And that obviously is, the pricey properties. However, the force of the first-time home buyers, those opening price point properties, are rapidly growing, and they're putting pressure on the homes that get into that next tier. And unfortunately, that next tier for those sellers is getting a little soft. So if you have the opportunity to go buy a luxury property, and even the ultra luxury properties, those homes over the long period look to have great returns. Now, of course, there's a lot more risk when you come into high dollar properties, but those luxury buyers could be seeing some very good deals out there, especially here in the Twin Cities. Now, the second type of person that should be buying or selling real estate is the first-time home seller. That is the first-time move-up buyer. So if you've purchased a home in, say, the last 5 years or more, there is no doubt in my mind that you are going to benefit from today's real estate market. We've had unprecedented growth over the last roughly decade, and those who purchased, say, in 2010 all the way to 2017 are going to see some really nice returns on the home that they purchased. Now, I'm not suggesting that you sell for the sake of selling, and I'm not suggesting you go buy a bigger, more expensive house just because you can. If that house is your long-term property, then keep reaping the rewards from it. You may be able to refinance and cash out and do some upgrades into the home, or perhaps even take that cheap money and invest it into a higher yield investment. So the first-time home seller, if that's not your forever property, I'd strongly consider you go take a look and see what's out there and what you might be able to get for your home today. The third and final person or people that fit today's real estate market quite well is the empty nester or downsizer. So for those of you whose kids are not staying with them any longer, and frankly you don't need all the space, today might be a great time to sell. Or in the near future, with COVID affecting our rental market and actually having quite a bit of delinquencies in the rental market, rentals may become available and at a reduced rate. So you might be able to realize quite a bit of equity out of your home and go into a rental property where you have much less responsibility. And there's such a desire for homes that are in that $300,000, $400,000, and even $500,000 price point that you could benefit quite greatly to move on from that forever home that you've had into a rental property. Now, the only caveat here is that there aren't a lot of townhouses or even single level townhouses for those of you that are kind of a bit older and want more convenient style living. So a rental might be a little bit more to your speed, especially if it's, say, a condo. But those empty nesters could realize quite a bit of dollars out of their homes, assuming, of course, either you still owe some money on the property or perhaps, you're very comfortable where you're at. Do you have any comments about the real estate market or questions? I'd love to hear from you below. Or if you're seriously considering getting into the real estate market or selling your property, I would love it if you reached out. You can call, text, email, hit me up on social media, but honestly, I would love to start that conversation with you. Now, the couple people that shouldn't be buying or selling real estate are those who have, say, trouble paying their bills and buying for the sake of buying. Yes, I'm a proponent of buying property, and if you can afford it in terms of does it fit into your monthly budget, then by all means, get in the game. But there are people that just are not made to be homeowners. Not to mention, they might not have stable jobs in which you're going to be responsible for a monthly mortgage payment. Now, that monthly mortgage payment may be less than your rent, but home ownership isn't necessarily less expensive than rent. So you have to keep that in mind. And the last thing you want to do, especially in such a hot real estate market, is be house poor, because any market change that could happen to the property, you could be responsible for a lot more property than it's actually worth, in which case you could potentially be underwater and get yourself in even more trouble. And second, if you've purchased in the last year or so, maybe even up to 2 years, the closing costs you've paid or the fees and such that you've paid to get into that home may not be paid off yet. And selling a house costs money. So unless you've done some major upgrades to the home that you've just recently purchased, going and buying a new house just as though you can see a few dollars of equity out of the property that you currently have is not necessarily advisable, especially since we're in a market that is, albeit a bit volatile. We've got record low interest rates, we've got record high purchase prices, and we have an election coming up, as well as a global pandemic. So the real estate market, while has buoyed our economy, especially here in the US, and more importantly, here in Minnesota, it's not advisable, again, just to sell your house to realize a little bit of dollars, whereas if you can live in that home, or your plans were to live in that home for maybe, say, 7 or 10 years plus, stick with the plan. This is Minneapolis Living. I really appreciate you watching. Please stay safe, please stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.